Hello, my name is Maggie. I'm a mother of twin daughters, identical twins. They were born 6 months and 3 days ago, and my age is 51, so my daughters were born when I was 50. I was born myself in the Netherlands, which would make me Dutch, and now at present I live in the capital of France, which is Paris, and I live there together with my husband. We're both ex-principal dancers, and we now co-direct a private dance school where we coach young talent to become a professional dancer. And I would like to talk with you about breastfeeding. And in this video, which is my third video, I would like to specify about or go more into detail about breastfeeding twins. So here I was, finally succeeding a pregnancy after many miscarriages and many years of dreaming to be a mother. I've been dreaming since I was 26 to become a mother, and I first became pregnant at age 43. I sadly miscarried at age at 10 weeks, and then I had several miscarriages, and we gave up, and then luck knocked on our door, and finally we managed to sustain the pregnancy, I think for a big part also thanks to the lockdown. So this COVID coronavirus is not only negative. I guess the lockdown enabled me to calm down physically as a dance teacher, and enable the fruit to stay attached to my womb, and finally I gave birth. Now, as I said, I'm an ex-principal dancer. I've been paying a lot of attention to being healthy, being fit, having what they call in France hygiène de vie. I think the English translation would be lifestyle. What goes together with, I think for 25 years I was a full-time professional dancer in contemporary dance, so this demands very strong, very rigorous training, tremendous stamina, endurance. You need to be very fit, you need to be in top shape all the time, and no drinking, no smoking, watching what you eat, eating enough of all the vitamins, of all the nutrients, sleeping well, taking care of yourself, injury prevention, and so on. So I've been doing this basically all my life. And the interesting part is, as I mentioned, I live in Paris, and in France, the way of approaching health, to me, coming from a Dutch culture and having had a part of my career in my dance career in England and in New York, so I'm more of an Anglo-Saxon culture than a French or Mediterranean culture. To me, the way health is approached in France seems very much guided towards the medical, and also approaching or searching for complications. Now, why do I mention this? This I mention because here I was, pregnant, thriving, actually almost to the point of irritation of my gynecologist and specialists in the hospital, who were doing a very close follow-up every 2 weeks, because I was carrying identical twins at age 50. So they said I was super high risk, and already carrying twins and then carrying identical twins who share the same placenta, they were constantly looking for complications. So on the one hand, I was very happy that they were taking such good care of me. On the other hand, I was, let's say, much surprised that each time they did an ultrasound. In France, they call it échographie. Every time the whole team, there was usually like one or two people watching the ultrasound. They had big frowns, they were looking like that, and I was like, my dear, what's going on? What did you find? And they would actually say, we didn't find anything, and this is a problem because there should be complications regarding your age, regarding that they're twins, regarding that they're identical twins. And I kept saying, but I have been eating organic food, I've been a vegetarian most of my life, I pay great attention to how I treat myself, my lifestyle is very healthy. And they said, no, it has nothing to do with it. That cannot make any difference on how your body reacts. So, putting a question mark, or for you, question mark. So this is interesting, because on the one hand, doctors always say, do eat healthily. And on the other hand, now that they found my body was like super healthy, they said, no, it's just pure coincidence. So you hear my husband is playing with our girls, and they love now, they're screaming. So this was very interesting. So here the doctors were like, in French you would say contrarié, almost like disturbed, like why can we not find anything? So they tried to push me to give birth, mostly because they're identical twins, sharing the same placenta. They said there's so many risks. You must give birth week 34, week 35, which would mean they would have been very premature and definitely in couveuse, intensive care. I don't know what you call this, but where the babies, they cannot be with the mother yet. I hope you understand what I mean in English. And I thought, wow, why? And I asked them, what needs to happen for me to be able to give birth maybe week 37 or week 38? And again, week 40, 41 is like pregnancy all the way to term. And they preferred week 34. Just to be sure. That was the only explanation, just to be sure, just to be on the safe side. And I said, what do you need? What needs to be, what's the checklist for giving birth week 37? And they said, no complications. I was like, check. Both twins having, I believe, no more than 15% of difference in height and weight, check, that was correct. No complications with the twins, so no complications with me, none with the twins. And no pregnancy, diabetes, no other things. So I had all of that. And I asked them, please, could I give birth week 37? And then finally we managed. So the girls were actually born week 37 and 2 days. So they were very, very small. My one girl, Aurore, was 2.2 kilos and 46 centimeters, and her sister was 2.950 gram, yes, so almost, a bit over 2.5 kilo and 48 centimeters. And they were so tiny that they had very little strength, and with the little strength they had, I understood for them breastfeeding took so much strength from their tiny little bodies that first of all they had to be fed many times. So I started off feeding, the first 2 weeks was about 10 feedings per day, and then going on to 8. And then also they had to be given a little complement, extra milk, artificial milk. Now, I will first talk about this aspect of the milk, and then I'll show you um, how I did the practical breastfeeding part. So I was worried, I was concerned. I was not worried. It's not that I didn't have fear. I was thinking, okay, now I must put all my energy, all my concentration to help my girls to stay alive, to gain the necessary way, to gain strength, to become healthy as soon as possible. And so I was basically the first 2 weeks I almost did not sleep. It's amazing how I survived together with my husband, because he was my teammate. We were doing the feeding together, like I was breastfeeding, but he was all the time giving me the girls and changing their little diapers and helping them to burp and helping them put on their clothes and change clothes and so on. So we did everything together, and together we did not sleep for 2 weeks. And we were doing all we can to help them. In the beginning, we had to give them artificial milk that we got at the hospital with an injection, so just pouring it into the little mouth. And we did that like if the head of the baby was here, we would put the injection, and then with the finger, so they would suck on the finger and then drink the artificial milk easier. So I remember we started off with like 10 minutes on the breast, and then 10 milliliters, very little amount, and moving on to 15 milliliters and then 20, and so on until I think about 60, and then we reduced, or we had the choice then, I think that was at the end of the first week, we had a choice to either stop the breastfeeding and fully continue with artificial milk, or diminish the artificial milk and increase the breastfeeding length. Because I was first breastfeeding 10 minutes and then 15 minutes. Now, I will explain the way I experienced it and the way I remember it. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm just a mother. And first I was listening to the doctors because I was so overwhelmed. I had a cesarean and there was pain everywhere. I was in this, it's almost a state of being drugged when you just don't sleep for 2 weeks. It's like, or you sleep half an hour or 1 hour per night. It's so intense. You're like, oh, you become a zombie. And I was listening to the doctors, and I was following closely what they advised me to do. And then I observed the girls were, at the end of the first week, we could swap from injection to little bottles. And so it was not an injection, don't be mistaken, not here in the bladder anyway. It's just a way of squeezing the milk, the artificial milk in their mouth, so they could swallow it quickly without too much energy, so they would save their energy to gain in strength. And thanks to this, they gained the necessary strength that they allowed me, my husband, and the 2 girls to leave the hospital. Yay! We came home to this beautiful bed, and then we continued with bottles of artificial milk powder. We added water. You probably know how it works. And my intuition was saying, wait, be careful, because they will probably now, it will be risky. They might start preferring the bottle because it's easier. It's almost like squishing out of the bottle into their mouth, demanding much less energy than the breastfeeding. At the same time, I was observing, it's amazing, the breastfeeding. Um, uh, I felt while I was feeding the girls, I felt my uterus like it was intense. It was an intense pain, but a good pain. I felt literally shrinking. And I had gained 30 kilos during my pregnancy, and I lost 24 in the first 3 weeks. I was eating like crazy, and I was feeling very faint in the third week. I was like, oh, I'm so dizzy. I'm eating, and I'm still dizzy. What's happening? And I just stepped on a scale, and I was like, oh dear, lost 24 kilos. So I understood. So this is for a large part thanks to my lovely girls who were drinking, who were breastfeeding, and they helped my uterus to get back in shape. It's fantastic. Also, I know that breastfeeding is so it's fantastic for the body of the mother, and it's really good for the body of the girls because they get very strong jaws, and their abdomen and everything is just so tonified. And the children's doctor keeps telling me now that they're 6 months and 3 days, and she keeps telling me every time we go, we have to go once per month for checking their height, their weight, giving vaccinations, and so on. And the children's doctor keeps saying, it's amazing. Your girls are so tonic. They are so energetic, dynamic, and healthy. How do you do it? And she's amazed I breastfeed. And so am I. I'm amazed too. Very, very happy about this. And it also it helps their jaw to shape instead of like having the chin back. It comes out because of the sucking. So they also get a lovelier shape of face and very strong muscles. So I was concerned. I was thinking, I must be very smart now. I must really take it very smart to not fall into while I was so tired, to not fall into this trap of thinking, well, let's just bottle feed, and then I can sleep more. I can ask other people to do it. I can just sleep the whole night. Everyone was proposing it to me. They were saying, Maggie, why don't you just give us the girls for a weekend? You go away for the weekend with your husband. Go into a hotel. Just take 3 days off, and we'll bottle feed the girls. And for some reason, I spoke about it in my previous video. For me, it's apparently very important to breastfeed them for the immune system, for the very close contact I have with my girls, for their health, for my health, for the total experience of being a mother. It's just very, very important for me to breastfeed. So that's why I continued. And I felt it was very tricky. It was so close that the girls would, reject the breastfeeding. And I thought, okay, I told my team, everyone was concerned because I was so exhausted and everyone wanted to help me. And I said, please. And I think I was a bit dynamic slash maybe at that point, because I was so fatigued, maybe aggressive. I was like, I want to breastfeed. We must stop the bottle. And my husband understood, and he told the others as well, like my sister and the sisters of my husband, and everyone was trying to care for our well-being and the well-being of the girls. And I said, I want to breastfeed. And we started really diminishing the bottle feeding until I think in month 3 we stopped totally. At the end of the first month we were down to just once per day. I think then we were giving about 6 feedings per day. At the end of the first month, it was like 6 or 7. And then the last feeding we would give before the night, we would give like 150 milliliters. And then in month 4, it became 100 or 90. And in month 5, it became like 30 milliliters. And then we just stopped giving this little complement of bottle. And all the while, I closely watched and asked advice to my children's doctor, and she said all the time, your girls are doing so well, they're in super health, they're really doing well, don't you worry. And how do you do it? She actually asked me. So here we go. How do I do it? So I was reassured to stop the bottle feeding and go full breastfeeding. And this is how I did it. So what I will do normally, I'll have many pillows piled behind me because their legs are getting longer and longer. But I'll first show you how I did in the beginning. So here's one pillow behind me. Then this is a soft pillow here. This is a thicker pillow that's like more sturdy, and a soft pillow here. Then I'll take my breastfeeding pillow over here. So you see, and then the girls are really at a good height. And then of course I would open up and take one. In the beginning I took one girl here and the other girl there. And now actually since 3 months or something now, I have my arms here because they're lying here, and I put lots of pillows behind because their legs are so long that I arrive more here. What I do to explain to you, so what I do is when they're here, I would take my breast and bring it to their mouth, and in the beginning I gently lower their chin and help them. And then what they need to do is take the nipple, but also take the round part around it fully in their mouth, like that. And later, because they were bigger, would be here and they would be to the side. Yeah. So I've been reading in books where they advise me to allow the babies to find my nipple. I observed if I wait for them to discover it, especially when they were 37 weeks, they couldn't find it. They could not find it. So there I was, and I would literally lift it and gently open their mouth and pour it in. And then they would start sucking. And now they find it, like the person helping me, I have our babysitter or my husband, and they come and they bring the mouth first to the nipple and then place the body. Something which is extremely helpful, I show to you, is this. Hope you can see it. This is a shell. In French it's called a coquille, which I place over my nipple between the feedings. I'll just place it back. So, and this actually helps to heal the nipple after the sucking and the biting. My next video will be about breastfeeding while your girls or your boys or your boy and girl while they are teething. Woohoo! So, and I discovered a way which is helping me to have less pain, and so I'll share that. But this is amazing. I think without these shells I would probably most likely have stopped after a week. Yeah, because of the pain. And with these, it's amazing, especially if you squeeze out just a little bit of mother's milk, and then it heals, especially with the shell on. Fantastic. Within half an hour, and I just keep them. I wear them 24 hours a day, all the time, nonstop, like my breastfeeding bra. And of course, I changed the breastfeeding bra, but I wear the shells all the time. This really helps. So, so far for this video, I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope this will inspire you and encourage you. Like every video, I'd like to say, please trust your own inner wisdom, the power of motherhood flowing through your veins as a pregnant or young mother. And should you have any questions, then I always advise inform yourself, read, but take the final decision. I would say this is what I do. Yeah? Not a doctor, just a mother. But what I always do, I inform myself, I read books, I search the internet, I watch movies, I watch documentaries, I consult my doctor or several doctors, and then I ask my intuition. One hand on my stomach, one hand on my heart, and then I feel what I should do. And most of the time, this is what I do. I often find myself doing something funny enough, which the doctor will first disadvise, like, oh, it will be too difficult, or oh, you might not succeed, or oh, most people don't do that. But if it feels good to me, I will stop thinking why or how or what will be the consequences. If it feels good to me, if my intuition is telling me, my inner wisdom is telling me, this is your way, then I do it. Especially if the doctor and all the figures show that my girls are thriving, I'm thriving, all is going super well, to the point that my doctor is asking me, how do you do it? I rarely see this. I rarely see someone breastfeeding 6 months, 2 girls, with the 2 girls being in such tremendous health. Great height, great shape, great weight, great energy, great dynamics. So then I think, I've been doing things which she did not advise, or where she put big question marks, and it felt good to me, and apparently it works. So I hope you will trust your intuition, your inner wisdom, and make your choice of how to breastfeed your child or your children. And I wish you much health and much joy. Thank you for watching.